Yo, what's going on everybody? TK Gamer here. Welcome back to another NBA 2K17 rebuilding video. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look and rebuilding the 2018 New York Knicks. So this team is obviously led by Kristaps Porzingis, Carmelo Anthony, but we are taking off the trade clause of Carmelo Anthony because in the next couple of days, he thinks he's going to get traded to either the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Houston Rockets. So we took out his trade clause because it's more than likely he's going to get traded or bought out. But then they drafted Frank Ntilikina. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right, but a guy, French point guard, who hopefully can progress into a great player and hopefully take over the franchise with Kristaps, Tim Hardaway Jr., who they brought out in the free agency, and then obviously Frank. All three of them hopefully being big name targets for us in this rebuild. But obviously they got a couple of contracts that they got to get rid of. First and foremost is Joakim Noah, Courtney Lee, two big contracts that we need to get rid of first and foremost to get rid of tons of salary cap and to go out and sign a big name free agency next offseason. But first, we're going to take a look at what trade offers we can get for Carmelo. I'm probably going to trade him halfway through the season, hopefully, because right now he doesn't have that much trade value. So we're going to first try to get out a huge salary dump for Joakim Noah. Hopefully we just get... So right here, we're going to accept this deal. Just a huge salary dump for Joakim Noah, who's not going to be getting any minutes on this team. Really just want to rebuild this year and hopefully get a top 3 draft pick for next year's draft, which a lot of star players are in that draft too. But next, Courtney Lee, Lance Thomas, two guys that we kind of want to get rid of right away, and salary dump yet again. So right here is an interesting deal. Patrick Beverley, interesting point guard that we could bring in that could mentor Frank Ntilikina. But Zubac and Thomas Robinson, a huge salary dump, and Zubac is a really good center that could help us out in the long run. So that is going to be our trade for Courtney Lee, and I don't think we're going to make any more trades. So it's going to be Frank Ntilikina, Tim Hardaway Jr., Carmelo, Porzingis, and Hernan Gomez. Not a bad starting five. That could be a playoff team this year with a pretty decent bench. But I like our starting five. We get to mentor Frank Ntilikina, keep Carmelo Anthony for probably half a year, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. We'll see how well he does on his new contract. So I'm still to the end of the season, and I'll see you guys once we're done. Okay, guys, so at the end of the season, LeBron James wins MVP, averaging 23 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. Crazy numbers out of LeBron James. MVP season for him. Lonzo Ball wins Rookie of the Year. Okay, 16 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds per game. Took over the Lakers franchise. Corey Joseph wins 6th man. DeAndre Jordan, Defensive Player of the Year. CJ McCollum, Most Improved. And Steve Kerr wins Coach of the Year. So take a look at all NBA teams. Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Probably won't have anyone in here, but Frank Ntilikina does make all rookie first team, so that's an interesting right there. But somehow, some way, we do not make it into the playoffs, and we finish 13th in the Eastern Conference. So that's definitely not a good sign. And we couldn't trade Carmelo Anthony because halfway through the season, when it came down to the trade deadline, he was injured, so we couldn't get him off our books. So we're gonna have to keep him at least till this offseason, where hopefully we can get a lot more trade value for him. He averaged 19.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists. Not bad numbers, but still he's kind of declining on the points. Tim Hardaway Jr., 19 points. Really good player. He really helped us out in the long run. Kristaps, 16 a game. Zubac, really good season. Frank Ntilikina, 10 points and 8 assists. Really good numbers for him in his rookie year. Probably could have won Rookie of the Year, but still, Lonzo Ball had an amazing season. So we didn't make the playoffs this year. Hopefully we can make it next year, but still we're going to have tons of rebuilding still to do, and it looks like it's going to be Raptors in OKC, and the Toronto Raptors sweep the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that's interesting right here, but this is our big free agency. So let's see what draft pick we get. Hopefully it's top 3 because there's a lot of good players out here. Hopefully we can get like a shooting guard, small forward type player. But let's take a look at what draft pick. Okay, so we get the 3rd overall draft pick and the 23rd pick. So we got 3 picks going into this draft, and I'll see you guys once we've made our selection. Okay, guys, so here we get Ayton, DeAndre Ayton, a really good center. I know we have Kristaps Porzingis, but I think him and Kristaps can play off of each other, and hopefully this will help us out in the long run. A really good guy that can rebound. But take a look here at the free agency qualifying offers. Chris Paul is obviously out here, but we're obviously going to accept Kristaps Porzingis. Chris Paul, Karl-Anthony Towns accepts, but we're not going to have too many free agents because once you do this new upcoming season, all the guys that re-signed this offseason aren't here. So Thomas Robinson, we're going to accept Kuzminski's deal. Try to bring back everyone else because there's not going to be a lot of players here in free agency. But now the big thing we need to do is get rid of Carmelo Anthony in that massive contract. Okay, D'Angelo Russell, a guy that can progress really well, still on his rookie deal. Andrew Wiggins and Jeff T. D'Angelo Russell would be pretty cool, but we do got Frank Ntilikina. We get Joakim Noah's huge contract, so I'm not liking that deal, but I am liking Andrew Wiggins and Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague can mentor Frank Ntilikina. And then obviously Andrew Wiggins is a great small forward that we could build around with Andrew Wiggins, Kristaps Porzingis, not calling it the Towns, but Jeff Teague. We're gonna try to get him out of this deal, but still they want a 22 first-round pick, and then they want so much more. We're just gonna go back to this deal, accept this deal right here. We get Andrew Wiggins, trying to build this team around this young talent rather than going into free agency this offseason. So we brought in Andrew Wiggins. We have Kristaps. We got a pretty good pieces of young talent and kind of veterans between Jeff Teague, and Tim Hardaway Jr. And I think this is a pretty massive deal, pretty blockbuster deal that can help us out in the long run and kind of revamp this rebuilding phase in New York. So that was a pretty good deal. I'm surprised that the Minnesota Timberwolves would want Carmelo Anthony, since they're kind of in that young talent range. But next, we're going to get rid of Lance Thomas. Hopefully, we can get a first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, a first-round pick right there. But we're just going to take these 2 second-round picks for Lance Thomas, another guy that was making a lot of money, and we want to get rid of his contract right away. So take a look. We do need a backup shooting guard. Small forward's pretty good, power forward, and then we kind of need a backup center plan. But there's not that many free agents out there this offseason, but next year it's going to be pretty big, and we're probably going to have tons of cap space as well. So Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he's going to want the max. The only big-name free agent out here was Chris Paul, and we already have Frank Ntilikina. We already have Jeff Teague, so that's not probably the best option that we want to go to. Otto Porter, D Rose, be pretty cool to bring D Rose to the team back, but already have enough point guards. Not a big free agency that's going to make us title contenders if we add any more pieces. But let's take a look here. Go to point guard. We definitely need a backup shooting guard with Tim Hardaway Jr., or we might make a trade to get a decent shooting guard, but I'm going to offer Lance Stevenson a contract right here. Hopefully he can accept, but also we're looking at guys like Simmons, Wayne Ellington. The main focus of this offseason is to get a backup shooting guard that can actually help us, but Lance Stevenson goes to the Spurs, so we're going to go after Jonathan Simmons. Hopefully he accepts on the minimum contract, and it looks like hopefully he can come to the team, and there you go. He accepts that deal. Probably the only move we're going to make this offseason, and I'll see you guys at the start of the next season. Okay, so here we are trying to find trade options for Jeff Teague. He is on a pretty big deal, and we're just going to try to find something that can be manageable because we want to give the starting job to Frank Ntilikina. And with Jeff Teague here, he's going to be taking up a lot of those minutes while we're not going to be progressing Frank. So we're going to try to go with Jonas Valanciunas, Norman Powell. That's an interesting deal. Pau Gasol, Tony Parker, 2 veteran-type guys that could help us out. But Otto Porter, he is on a max contract. JJ Redick could be a great shooter, but nothing that really takes us away here. But we do need a backup shooting guard. Chris Middleton is a perfect option, and we get a first-round draft pick from them. So I think we're going to accept that Chris Middleton deal. He can help us out. He'll maybe start over Tim Hardaway Jr., but still pretty on a okay contract, but still we're going to accept that deal right there, and welcome to the team, Chris Middleton. So that's a pretty big deal right there. We bring in Chris Middleton, a guy that can definitely help us out in the scoring department, where we kind of suffered in our scoring. So this is going to be a starting lineup this year. Kristaps Porzingis, Andrew Wiggins, Frank, Tim Hardaway Jr. And coming to the end of the season, James Harden wins MVP. Michael Porter Jr. off the Miami Heat wins Rookie of the Year. Rudy Gay wins Most Improved. Anthony Davis Defensive Player of the Year. Actually, Rudy Gay wins Sixth Man, and Zach LaVine wins Most Improved. And the Rockets coach wins Coach of the Year. So let's take a look at the standings. Hopefully we did a little bit better. And yes, we did 44-38 record, which is best for 4th in the Eastern Conference with the Milwaukee Bucks, where we made that trade for Jeff Teague. That really helped them in the long run. He averaged 14 a game, around 8 assists, and that's a pretty decent team, but I'm not too sure how that's the #1 seed. So let's take a look at the statistics right here. Andrew Wiggins, 16 points a game. Kristaps Porzingis, 15. Really down year for him. Chris Middleton averaged 14. Tim Hardaway, 12. 8, 11, and 10. Rookie of the Year this year. Crazy numbers out of him. Starting at that center position, him and Kristaps Porzingis make a pretty good front court. And then Andrew Wiggins, obviously, and Tim Hardaway Jr. did a terrific job. But still, Frank Ntilikina needs to progress a little bit better if he wants to manage that starting point guard job. But as you guys see, we get bounced out in the first round against the Chicago Bulls, who have D-Wade, LaVine. I don't see us losing to that team with Andrew Wiggins, Kristaps, Ayton, and Frank Ntilikina, but somehow, some way we lose, and the Houston Rockets win an NBA championship with Chris Paul wins Finals MVP. So this is our big offseason. Obviously, last year we didn't make a splash in free agency, but this year, hopefully it can be different. at least now we're starting to win. Free agents might want to come here and hopefully win an NBA championship with us. So we're going to be taking a look at Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously going to accept that pending option. LeBron accepts, Russell Westbrook accepts, but still Paul George is going to be out here. Isaiah Thomas, DeMarcus Cousins, Andrew Wiggins going to accept that deal. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent. Yes, he is. We're going to give him the max contract, but I'm pretty sure we do have bird rights on him, so that's going to be pretty important going into free agency because we can sign him to the bird right, and we can also sign a max player. So we have enough to sign a max player this offseason, so we're going to go after Paul George on a 4-year deal. And hopefully he wants to come. Isaiah Thomas, since Frank Ntilikina isn't progressing, I think we have to go after a different type of point guard, a scoring point guard, to build this team around. And Isaiah Thomas does want the max. We'll see if he wants to come. DeMarcus Cousins, the nice centerpiece. I know we have Aiden, but right now we're kind of desperate to bring in a star player to the team, a superstar player. Joel Embiid usually accepts, but he sometimes goes back to the 76ers. And then Carmelo Anthony, we could bring him back. But Avery Bradley, nice couple pieces here. Aaron Gordon wants a pretty massive deal, so we're not going to give him that. But Amir Johnson is a nice backup plan if none of these players come. So let's see what players accept. Andrew Wiggins does accept, but we're going to leave that offer on the table because if we do accept that, we're not able to sign another max player. So we're going to try to fluctuate between him and another max player. So Andrew Wiggins, we're going to give him another option until one of these guys plan to come to the New York Knicks. Because if we sign him, like I said, we can't sign any other max player. So Paul George is going back to the Thunder. Amir Johnson, we're not going to accept that. Paul George, Isaiah both go back to the same teams, as well as DeMarcus Cousins. So our last option is Joel Embiid. We're hoping that he can come to the New York Knicks and help us out this season, but still no answer from Joel Embiid. We're hoping he comes. We're going to have to keep giving offers to, and Joel Embiid does accept this deal. So now Andrew Wiggins hopefully can come back. Yes, he does. So now we got a couple young pieces, a couple great young pieces to build this team around. And we're going to give Patrick Beverley a pretty decent contract, and he could be our backup point guard going in next season. So Julius Randle looking for a big contract, and his Cantor. We do need a backup power forward, and we're going to go down here. Jordan Mickey seems like a relevant option, but still, we've got enough centers that can play power forward, so we're not that interested. So guys, coming to the start of next season, we're not going to trade any of our power forwards or centers. We're going to run with this lineup with Ntilikina, Tim Hardaway Jr., Andrew Wiggins, Porzingis, and Embiid, with a really decent bench filled with Chris Middleton, Ayton, and Hernan Gomez, Kuzminskis, Brennan Bass, a lot of great players coming off our bench. I think we have one of the best benches in the league, Patrick Beverley as well. So allow me to sum it to the end of the season. So guys, coming to the end of the season, James Harden wins MVP, averaging 23.7 rebounds and 10.5 assists. J.P. Jacobson wins Rookie of the Year. DeAndre Ayton wins Sixth Man Rookie of the Year and Sixth Man all the way for a guy coming off the bench. It would have been pretty nice to start him, but we went all after Joel Embiid. But still, a pretty good year for Ayton, a huge season for him. John Smith wins Coach of the Year. So taking a quick look at the standings yet again, 13, a little bit better from last year, 48 and 34 record behind the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks yet again, who finished 53 and 29. Take a look at the statistics. Andrew Wiggins, 15 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists. Really good pickup for him, but Kristaps Porzingis, he's falling down the ladder. His scoring's going down each and every year. Joel Embiid had a pretty decent year, 13.5 points. And hopefully we can get out of the first round this year. But we are somehow, someway playing the Cavs with still LeBron James, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving. And we're down in this series. And hopefully we can come out of here. But down 3-1. And we lose the Cleveland Cavaliers. So not the best way to lose to this team. And we're going to see who makes it to the NBA Finals. We didn't get out of the first round. And it's going to be the Cavs going all the way. But the Houston Rockets win it again. So thank you guys for watching. Been your boy T Gamer Tommy. If you guys do want to see more of these, make sure to tell me in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. Been your boy T Gamer Tommy. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.